Hello, good afternoon to all the viewers. I am Hero Dadia. Clearly, it has been an interesting week in terms of markets as well. Today, they are under pressure throughout the day, cuts of almost 0.5% coming in there, and we are below the 18,700 mark on closing basis as well. We hit a low of 18,647 in intraday trading session. However, the bank Nifty has been resilient slightly as compared to what the benchmark indices are doing in trade. But joining us on the show to discuss more on this and what's in store on the derivative and technical front, we have Shrikant Chouhan, Head of Research at Kotak Securities. Shrikant, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Shrikant, my first question coming to you is uh, clearly, the Nifty spot has been missing the all time high. Yesterday, it was just by 1.6 points. And today, we've already succumbed under pressure and we're below the 18,700 mark. What are the indications that you're picking up? Because clearly, if you see the roll cost as well, that is slightly under pressure. And overall, from a OI perspective, if you look at the PCR, what are the trends that you're picking up?
Yeah, good afternoon. I think it is something which is like not something unusual for the market, because most of the time whenever the market comes to crucial levels,
Hmm.
it comes under some pressure, and it comes down or it starts trading sideways. This time market has taken a lot of time to reach these levels, and after hitting these levels, we saw some sideways activity, but eventually now we are like seeing some consistent selling pressure in the market. And also, if we go through with the global cues, then there also we are seeing good amount of pressure. So I think if we combine everything, then based on the overall formation of our markets as well as world indices, I think some more correction is more likely in the near term. Currently, we are at 18,600, 650, and the chances of falling further to the levels of either 18,500 or 18,300 are there. The reason is because see, Nifty IT is not participating. Bank Nifty has finally turned it reversed from the highs after making several attempts to cross 44,500. It failed. So based on the overall formation, I think we are heading little lower from here.
Right. So, what are the levels, according to you, that we should be watching out for if you have to take a support and resistance perspective?
Yeah, see, like the market has broken the important level of 18,650, which was the lowest of last 2 days. Also, currently we are very close to 20 days simple moving average, and trading below the same indicates that the short-term structure of the market is turning weak and it is heading lower. So the next level to watch out for would be 18,400, and in the worst case scenario 18,300. So 18,000 at 18,500 there is huge amount of put writing. So that also we need to see. But based on the extensions, based on the retracement which I follow, I think based on that we are heading below the mark of 18,500. Even if we go through with the PCR, then PCR is still at zero point 0.8, zero point 0.9, which indicates that furthermore selling is more likely in the near term. In case the PCR falls to zero point 0.5 or zero point 0.6, then only we can say that the markets are turning oversold. But right now, the markets are still in the grip of, I'm going to say, bears, and furthermore, fall is on the card.
Right. Similarly, if you see Bank Nifty as well, yesterday itself we ended below the 20-day EMA, below the 43,800 mark. If you see in terms of today's session as well, the scenario seems to be absolutely similar. However, there is strong support at the 50-day EMA so far. What's your view? Because today it seems, as compared to the benchmark indices, the sell-off in terms of Bank Nifty has been absolutely minimal.
Yeah, I think it is mainly because of HDFC Bank, which is holding well above the important levels of 1610, 1620. In fact, it was down when the Bank Nifty was very close to 44,500. And now, when the Bank Nifty is around 43,500 levels, it is, I would say, HDFC Bank is moving upward. But overall pattern is still indicating us that we are heading for at least minimum 43,000 to 42,800. where the bank Nifty is having support of 200 days exponential moving average. So there also we are going to see further more weakness, and maybe when the market will start comfortably trading below 18,650, which was today's lowest level, I think that time the selling will emerge in even bank stocks. So broadly, I think the setup is turning negative for the market.
Right, so the setup is turning negative overall, as we've been mentioning. But moving on, let's quickly look at a few of the stocks, that have been buzzing in trade today. If you see the likes of a Voltas, what is the setup looking like? Because there is some amount of action happening on that counter.
Yes, I think the setup of Voltas is showing a lot of weakness. In fact, it is very close to its previous lowest level, but the way we saw sell off in the stock from the levels of 1300 to 800, and there is hardly any bounce back from the lower levels. I think it is heading towards the levels of maybe 650 or 630. So as compared to Havels, as compared to other such type of companies, I think this thing Voltas is showing more bearishness, and at these levels also, our advice is to exit from the same.
Right. So that's with regards to where Voltas goes. Moving on, if you have to look at a few of the other names, say Aurobindo Pharma, Exide Industries, both these counters are seeing some bit of a long build up in today's session. What should the strategy be?
Yeah, I think see like Aurobindo Pharma is showing a lot of strength. In fact, whenever the stock is falling, it is quickly coming above its previous high. And today also, like after falling in the first session, in the second session again, it is trading at 52-week highs. So based on the formation, I think it is heading for the levels of minimum 740, 750 from current levels. So there is like upside of 5%. But while looking at the overall pattern and the way there is a retracement, I think one need to be more cautious while adding positions, long positions at these levels. It is better if we exit some positions close to 747.
Okay. And how are you looking at an IndusInd Bank? Some strong moves coming in on that counter.
Yes, suppose IndusInd Bank, yes, means I mean to say, uh, again, the price pattern is very clearly indicating that it is taking support of the previous resistance. So uh, it has spent almost 1.5 year below the levels of 1250, And after crossing these levels, now whenever there is a fall in the stock, we are seeing some good amount of buying pressure close to 1250, 1260. But as the overall sector is turning weak, I think it is not going to show some extraordinary move from current levels. But yes, certainly it is outperforming. So we may see some range bound sort of activity between 1350 and 1250 on the downside.
Right, so that's with regards to where IndusInd goes. Moving on, let's see a few of the other counters which are seeing some long positions being added in today's session. Bharti Airtel is one that comes on the radar. Indiabulls Housing Finance as well. Shrikant, what are your views on both these names?
See, for Bharti, our view is that it is strong. It is heading upward, but now it is very close to its fair value of 900. Also, if we go through with its chart on daily and monthly basis, then in the month of November, the stock was very close to 860, 865 levels. And from there, all the way, it has fallen to 740, 745. So at these levels, again, it will attract some selling pressure or some liquidation of long positions. So while looking at the overall condition of the market, I think this stock will also remain under some pressure. But once the stock starts sustaining above 865, then we can expect 900. But broadly, we are of the view that we should be buyer if there is any correction in the stock. And close to 835, the stock is having excellent support.
Right. So that's with regards to, we've spoken about Bharti Airtel as well in this. But moving on, few of the counters which are seeing some short positions being added in today's session. How are you looking at the metal names, Tata Steel, as well as a sale? Both these counters are seeing some short positions being built up.
Yeah, I think, see, these stocks are basically uh, showing a lot of volatility, and it is mainly because of specific news flow or specific data which comes from China. So because of that, we are seeing a lot of volatility. But otherwise, we are of the view that still stocks should do well in the medium term, not in the short term, because short term it completely depends upon the performance of the market. But whenever the market will find its support around 18,400 or 18,300, from there, if we see any reversal activity in the market, then very first, I think steel stocks should recover from their lows. And in that space, we like Tata Steel as well as Jindal Steel and Power. But at current levels, I think furthermore weakness is very clear, is apparent on the chart. Currently, Tata Steel is around 109, and the stock can fall to the levels of maybe 106 or 107, where the stock is having excellent support. For Jindal Steel and Power, we are specifically bullish, and we are expecting stock to move towards 740, 750, which is decent upside from current levels, nearly 30-40%. And in case if there is any correction close to 560 or 550, where the stock is having support of 20 days as well as 50 days exponential moving average, then there we should be buyer. Broadly, I think except Tata Steel and JSPL, it is better to stay away from taking any position in any stocks like maybe Steel Authority or Hindalco. Just stay away from taking position in these stocks. But Tata Steel and this JSPL looks really good.
Right. Shrikant, what about the power space, REC, PFC, as well as Tata Power? There is some bit of action happening in these three names as well.
Yeah, I think here also we saw spectacular rally from the lows, and they have broken almost all their important levels. In fact, all these stocks are trading above the highs of last 15-20 years. Uh, since last 2010 or 2005, they have never reached these levels, but this time confidently they are very close to these levels and they are sustaining above these levels. So one thing is very clear, that something is happening in the sector, and it is positive for the PFC as well as REC. But the way they have rallied from their lows, I think some correction is more is possible in the near term and is not ruled out. So after hitting the highs of 167 or 170, REC is now correcting back, but it has very good support close to 145 based on its averages. And for PFC, there also we have a bullish view, but again, because the over retracement in the short term, the stock should correct back to the levels of at least 185 or 190. So there we should look for adding them, but at current levels, it is better to take some profit.
Right. Other two names I want to discuss is from the Pharma pack, Shrikant, Glenmark, Lupin. Both of these counters are seeing short covering in today's session. In fact, Pharma as a whole is seeing some bit of traction as well. What should the strategy be from a derivative perspective?
See, again, the rally is beyond the expectations in Glenmark Pharma. It was around some 350 levels. From there all the way to reach the levels of 680. Now it is correcting back, and there is like some divergence based on technicals. So I think it is heading little lower from current levels. Currently it is at 630. We may see the levels of maybe 570, 580 on the downside. So at these levels, it's a short candidate, but keep a stop loss at 650 for the same. So 650 should be the final stop loss for creating any short position on the stock for Glenmark. But for Lupin, our view is that if there is any correction, then close to 800 or 810, we should be buyer, because the broader trend of the stock is suggesting us that it is heading for 1050. But because in the short term, the news is already there, I mean to say already the stock has rallied on the back of news flow. I think it is now going to correct. So maybe 30-40 rupees from here. But then if there is a medium to long term view, then we should be buying in the stock.
Right. So these are a few of the names that we've discussed. Shrikant, apart from what we've already spoken about, anything that is your favorite pick that an investor should look at?
See, I think the markets are at very crucial levels. And if we see furthermore correction, then again it will be an opportunity for investors to invest in the market, because we are not expecting market to fall drastically or to fall below the levels of 18,000. So max we are expecting 18,400 or 300. So if there is any correction, then those who are like investors in the market, they should look for adding some position. And based on technical specifically, a few IT companies are really showing a lot of strength, like Tech Mahindra as well as HCL Technologies. and HCL Technology has broken its trading range after a period of almost 7-8 months. So based on the technical formation, I think HCL Technologies is heading for the levels of 1230, 1250 in next maybe few weeks of time. So at these levels, it's a buy with a stop loss close to 1140. And the other stock on which we are bullish, on which I already discussed, is Jindal Steel and Power. But apart from that, I think Zomato is also a stock to watch out for, because we are seeing a lot of activity in all these platform or internet-based companies or startup companies, and most of them have corrected in the past, and now they have resumed their rallies. So if there is any correction, short-term correction, we should be buying in them. Zomato looks good at current levels around 74 with a stop loss close to 72. Again, we are expecting stock to move towards 80 and in the long run 95.
Right, so Zomato becomes one of the key picks that we should be watching out for as well. And it's just been lately that it's gone back to its IPO levels and managed to inch higher. Thank you, Shrikant, so much for joining us on the show and sharing those views. Always a pleasure to speak to you. But clearly, below the 18,700 mark is where the markets have ended, and 100 points decline coming in terms of Bank Nifty, with cuts of around 0.2%. In terms of stock specific action, again, IndusInd Bank, the top gainer in trade today, Dr. Reddy's, Asian Paints, NTPC, and as Shrikant was mentioning, it's the HDFC twins that have been supporting Bank Nifty in today's session. BPCL, Hindalco, Divi's Laboratories, Adani Enterprises, and Adani Ports were few of the top losers. In terms of newsmakers, Lupin was in focus on the back of the epilepsy seizure control drug that they've launched in the USA. Aurobindo is looking to sell their leukemia drug in 44 or low-income countries. Kotak Credit Fund has invested 732 crores in Ratan India Power, so strong moves were seen on that counter as well. So lots of movers and shakers in trade today. A day of stock-specific action, but clearly, there is some bit of resistance which is actually overpowering the support in the markets, and that's one of the reasons we're seeing selling pressure that is coming in. And as we know, next week is a truncated week, so it's going to be interesting to see how the markets and the investors, actually traders, react to it as well. But clearly, a week where we've seen the last two trading sessions which have ended in the negative have actually taken the week performance also lower. That's all that we have on this session. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend as well. In fact, lots more lined up on BQ Prime. Please stay tuned.